YouTube, Dawson Ryder here, coming at you with another Power Rangers comic ranking video in my series of videos in honor of the Boom Comics main run ending. So I first did arcs, then I did characters, and today we are going to be doing suits. These are my top 10 favorite suits from the comics, and just like with the characters list, this isn't solely like 100% original creations. Some of these are original suits, other ones are obviously, I mean, they're all original suits, but you know what I mean, some of them are ones that we're basing off of like the MMPR builds and whatnot, as we've had a lot of different MMPR variants, and I do have some that overlap that are like the same Ranger character, just different variants, and I thought about not doing that, but I wanted to make the list my own, and if you have a problem with that, yet again, I have a permit. Alright, but let's get started. So first, honorable mention, because I do have multiple Draken variants on here, is Draken Evolution 1, which is the first time he starts grafting other powers onto himself. I always just thought this was a cool one. It adds this kind of extra sleek look as it takes on characteristics of the Samurai Rangers. I'm disappointed that Lightning Collection didn't continue because I would have loved to have seen, honestly, any of these on this list, but this would have been an easy one to do since they already had the Draken mold, or at least the start on it, but I always really liked that one. But for number 10, maybe a bit of an odd pick for some of you, but is the MMPR Black Ranger from MMPR Pink. Lots of MMPR in there. This is a very simple one, but I like it for simple reasons. The Black Ranger suit from MMPR is my favorite of the MMPR suits. Man, do not take a drink every time I've said MMPR. I just said it again. But it's my favorite suit from those, and then hoodies are my favorite type of clothing, and you put those two things together and you have this cool vigilante-looking Black Ranger suit. Add in that kind of pink aesthetics and like outlines that made it unique. I always just thought it was a really cool and unique suit, and one I wouldn't have minded. Like, they started doing these MMPR variants for Lightning Collection when they were winding down. I'm like, there's still other like way cooler variants from the comics you could do instead of doing like see-through ones or whatever. Next at number 9 is the Rhino Ranger Sentries. In general, I thought it was really cool that during Shattered Grid we got multiversal Ranger Sentries. I thought the concept of the Ranger Sentries was cool overall, but the Rhino Ranger one was definitely my favorite. I think just because I like that suit, and also it looked the most like one of the Bandai America original creations coming to life. Number 8 is the Black Draken Ranger. This is the Scorpina Black Ranger from when Draken created his own team of Rangers, which is an evolution of the MMPR suits. Yet again, love the MMPR black suit, so I love seeing the spin on it, especially like with the tusks coming off of it. I thought that was really cool. And then you also have the added fact that this is Scorpina, so she has this golden arm, kind of like the way Chase had his arm in Cosmic Fury, but even cooler. So there's just a lot I like about this suit. It's starting with the base of a suit I already like, making it look more cool and badass with the tusks and the golden arm, and the fact that it's Scorpina as the Ranger is just so cool. After that is the Magna, what I'm going to call the Magna Solar Ranger. I've talked before about how I really like the Solar Rangers designs. I think they get a lot of unnecessary hate. You know, the team that isn't Beyond the Grid is a little bit more boring, but in general, I think their suits look really cool because they look familiar and rangerly, but also alien. But I especially loved the Beyond the Grid version because they took on echoes of their previous powers, kind of like their residual connection to their original powers was seeping through, which I thought was cool. And Magna Defenders always just kind of stuck out to me, just the way the helmet was designed and the way that those elements echoed throughout it, and it was my favorite of those suits. Next up, this is, I don't know what to call this one, I'm calling it Death Omega Red. This was when Death Ranger was possessing Rangers, and some of them would take on a different appearance, a lot of them were just kind of like a skull and bones underneath. But Death Ranger Omega took on a whole new appearance, making it feel like its own Ranger in a way, and the Omega Rangers, or another Omega Ranger, is going to be on this list again, but this one was just a standout. This was really cool. It was very simple, but very effective, and looking menacing, like almost as cool as the Death Ranger suit itself. Would have loved a figure of this one as well. Next up is just the classic Draken. This was just a really cool idea. I think it's done very simple and very effectively. Definitely leans a little bit more White Ranger, but I still really love it. I think my favorite detail is that you have that sort of secondary green color on the gold plating. I think that was a cool way to show the Green Ranger element and created a really cool contrast. It's just a very well designed first, like, not, was it the first, but one of the first original Boom suits. Number 4 is new MMPR Green, which is back there, and I know it's inspired by the Bat in the Sun suit, which has the silver stripe, hashtag Team Silver Stripe for life. But this one tweaked it a little bit, you know, doing the secondary gold color and a couple other twists, but I just really liked it. Again, I rolled my eyes when we were bringing back the Green Ranger, but the whole overall storyline wound up winning me over, even when he turned evil. And there was just something about this. Like, once I saw it, when I started reading it, I'm like, yeah, I really like this. I mean, who doesn't like the MMPR Green suit? But I wound up liking this even more than the original, which is probably like blasphemy to some hardcore fans. But yeah, I just always really liked this suit. Number 3 is Time Force Black. This is a very underrated one from an often overlooked comic. I don't see a lot of people talking about that comic, the graphic novel. I can't remember what it was called at this moment, but people forget about this comic. I don't know why. What's its name? No, but the Time Force graphic novel, Sins of the Future. Nailed it. That was a great graphic novel. Go read that. Definitely felt in the spirit of Time Force. But Black Time Force Ranger, cool design in general. Love the Time Force suits. Seeing a Black Ranger version of it, especially with how the way their powers worked, was extra cool, like with this glitchy aesthetic to it. Just a really cool suit, underrated comic, underrated character. The runner-up is Death Ranger. Now, I love the Death Ranger suit. I love the Omega Ranger suits, period. I know they're a little samey, but I still think that they're awesome looking. And I've talked about this before in the characters, but I love that, kind of like the original Gold Ranger, because the undersuit is almost black, felt like a reference or a spin on our Gold Ranger, because, you know, King Ranger I don't think was a Gold Ranger to Sentai, but we made him a Gold Ranger, so I like that we have a variant of a Gold Ranger that isn't just all a suit. I mean, we have lots of variants here for PR. We have Gold Rangers with gold suits, we have Black Rangers with gold plating, and then we have the urine color from the last 10 years. But I just like that. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I thought that was cool regardless. It has this badass zombified look, and it just takes everything I love about the Omega suits and turns it up to 11 by adding a horror aspect. Not to mention how much I love their character. I find them to be a fascinating character. If you want to hear me talk about that, I talk about it in my character video. And I was trying to think, there was something specifically that it reminded me of, both when they're in their suit, but also when they possess other people, when you just get that smile creeping through like in the space ones. And then I remembered what it reminds me of. It was, hey, who turned out the lights? Number one for me is Draken Evolution 3. I know there's multiple Draken variants on here, but I do love the Draken suit, and this is my favorite for multiple reasons. I mean, a black gold aesthetic is probably my second favorite Ranger suit or Rider suit aesthetic. Like a white Ranger suit or white Rider with a good secondary contrast is probably my first favorite, but black gold is my second favorite. So you're already taking a suit I like and you're making it black gold with a sick badass cape. In general, just love it, instantly won me over. But also I love the kind of story mirror it creates, which apparently was unintentional. I think I remember reading that at a panel they revealed originally this was going to be like the same colors Draken always is, like a white Ranger suit, and somebody had made the suggestion to make them black gold, so that wound up being kind of random, but it unintentionally created this cool mirror where the ultimate evolution of good Tommy is a black gold suit and the ultimate evolution of evil Tommy is a black gold suit. And I thought that that was really cool, and I still wish we would have seen those two meet. It was neat in the final arc in Darkest Hour to have that very brief scene of Dr. O talking to his younger self, but I thought a scene between Dr. O and Draken would have been fascinating to see, because you could tell Draken felt this like regret that, like, man, if I would have just not made that decision, but I've committed to the path of evil. But to see and talk to the pinnacle of the choice he didn't make to be good as Dr. L would be cool. But so in general, it's kind of one of my favorite things is, there's certain suits I like just for the aesthetics, but it's always enhanced when I might like the character or story attached to it. It can make me like the suit more. It's something that's made me like suits that I previously was more cool on because the story context added something to it. But this is the case where I already like the suit, and then the story context, or at least unintentional parallel, elevated my love for it. But that is just my list. Let me know your favorite Boom Comics suits in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to get notifications for my videos. Awesome Writer, signing out.